I'm back. I shared something earlier today that prompted one of the women walking a similar path as me to reach out to me and share her experience. And I shared something with her that helped her to understand her experience on a more macro level. And I talk about this all the time with the women that I work with. So, in speaking about women leaving relationships, not evolving, not growing, women breaking generational patterns, healing from trauma. And it's often these women who become single mothers, not by choice, but because they went into a spiritual awakening and started healing from trauma and broke a cycle or broke a pattern. And the men that were in that with them chose not to grow and evolve with them. Okay, so these women had no choice but to leave. So I want to share with you what I just shared because I feel like this is really relevant considering the context of the astrological alignments, the collective energies, what's happening with the masculine and feminine collectives, the chaos we're seeing in the world, and where we are in our cycles of like numerology cycles. So we're now in a 9-year, which universal 9-year, which is a year of completion. So I'm going to share this with you for anyone who is holding the line right now, for women who have been healing, who've taken hit after hit. And I've spoken about this before. I've walked this past my path myself. This is my second rodeo. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Um, but it's almost over. It's almost over. And the key is now nervous system regulation and just coming into that peace and knowing that there is no force that can destabilize us. So if anything's coming at you right now, thank them for the lesson, ground, regulate, know that you are protected and you are here for a higher calling, harder path, higher calling. I'm going to share this now. Yeah, me too. The last couple of months, like the last few months, because Saturn has been retrograde for the last 4 months, so since July, right? Saturn's just gone direct, and Saturn is the Lord of karma. And it speaks of like it's the energy of like responsibility and standing up and just getting things done. Like it's the hard task master, Saturn. So it's like but it also, yeah, it's also Saturn's also about spiritual contracts and our spiritual responsibility. If we came in with a contract, a spiritual contract, we need to complete that, and that's healing and evolution. So about karmic responsibility. And so that's the thing. This is where these these cretins, I'm so angry right now, right? Like, I'm just like, you know what? You, you, dear masculine, have been given so much grace and so much opportunity to learn, grow, like to learn from this, to heal, to grow, to learn the lesson. Like, and then they keep getting landed in their karma, right? They get hit with their karma. And then they come at us again because they're angry and that like they want to blame. And it's like, it's your fault. It's your fault. Right. And this is the whole Luke thing, right? It's their own karma and they're throwing shadows at mirrors because women like us, by our very nature and the codes that we carry, like that's what we're here for. And it's kind of like I've had to come to terms with this on my journey. It's like it's almost like you're bait. Like it's almost like you're sent into a mission to hold a frequency, right? And these men are given an opportunity. And that's why we have such a difficult path because we do the healing, we hold the integrity, right? We take our responsibility spiritually, like our spiritual responsibility, our spiritual path. We're committed to that. And so that does not mean that we're perfect in any way, shape, or form, because most of us descended for a time into those toxic cycles, right? Until we realized that that pattern was not going to break unless we left it. So I'm not saying that the women walking this path that have been in this are perfect. And I know in my situation that I descended into I was my worst self at the lowest point, and I had to pull myself out of that. Okay. So any men coming at me, and I know you will, coming in to say, oh, but you did this. Yeah, we know, but we're taking responsibility for that. And we're saying, no, we do not want to operate at that level. We're breaking that cycle. I've lost where I'm at now.
To escape it, avoid it, that so that these men can then play this out, right? Because if we do the healing, we hold the integrity, right? We take our responsibility spiritually,
Accountability,
like our spiritual responsibility, our spiritual path. We're committed to that. And so we don't descend into those cycles, right? And it's like spirit sends us into this because we have the strength, right? And the anointing spiritually, like the activation level and the coding to hold that so that these men can then play this out, right? Because the thing is, they're now getting hit not only for the karma that they've created in the way that they've come at us, they're actually getting hit with all of their karma from everything previously, all their previous relationships, and even
which would have been released, the karma for that would have been released had these men taken the contract, gone through the healing. You can clear your karma, but you must go through the healing. That's how we clear our karma. That's what spiritual contracts are about. So you can have a spiritual contract or a higher divine counterpart or a soulmate, and it could descend into karmic, or it could break cycles, break patterns, and evolve.
past life stuff. But
Choices.
it's mostly like this is the 9 year now, universal 9 year. So it's completion of the last 9 years. And I know like that's around motherhood for you and I, right? My eldest is about to turn 9. And I'm like, yeah, that's, like that's the journey. I know your kids are similar ages, right? So that's the thing. These men are now getting hit with the karma and they have nowhere to turn. They have nowhere to like because we haven't descended into anything. We haven't thrown anything back. We've just taken it on the chin, taken the beating, gotten ourselves up, dusted ourselves off, done the healing, gone through the healing, gone through the growth, right? Thank you for the lesson. I'm going to heal and evolve, right? That's why it's been so difficult. But these men now, they are not going to be able to escape it, avoid it. Like it's about to be a bloodbath out here. So, um, this is the thing. It's like we're the love and light crew, the love and light brigade, right? The new age movement and all the spiritual, like hippies and stuff. So, just love and light. I'm like, no, 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 no. No, we're entering a phase now where like everything's about to come up to the surface. And now there's like the karmic flip is happening and it is not love and light. And it's going to be dark. I tell you, it's going to be dark. But that's the thing. That's why we walked through this so that we can hold the space for it. So, and we've broken the lineage now. We've broken that's that line now, that patriarchal line, right? Because we're boy mums. That line has now ended. Those men were supposed to close it out. They were supposed to close it out because they were supposed to heal and transform, right? And become that and then break the pattern for their sons. But they chose not to. And the karmic return for that now is that's where they're sitting, right? So we ended that ancestrally. We ended that. That's why we don't have girls because we weren't to continue our lineage, our maternal lineage, because we're starting a new maternal lineage, right? Because it's likely that our sons will have girls. Does that all make sense on a grander macro scale? I know you enjoy my dissection of the energies. That might kind of help to just reframe everything because higher path, higher calling.
So what I'm speaking about there is closing out cycles or breaking cycles of generational trauma. And generational trauma, the trauma I'm speaking of, is rooted in patriarchy, patriarchal structures. It harms women and men and children. It harms humanity. It harms everybody. And I can tell you now, right, I'm seeing a lot. There's this whole thing about masculinity and femininity, and there's a lot of division and a lot of fighting. Like it's like a war between the masculine and feminine, right? There's so much fighting. But it's as simple as this. There's two kinds of people in this world right now. And this is where the split comes in. There's the people that are healing, growing, evolving, and breaking these patterns and healing the planet, because this is the only way we're going to heal the planet and create change, is by ending cycles of trauma, right? There's the people healing, being accountable, growing, evolving spiritually. And then there are the people who are pointing fingers and creating more division and defending themselves and wanting to stay the same and repeat the same patterns when they know that those patterns are harming others, even though they're denying that, right? But that's a whole level of gaslighting, right? So the thing is, right now, and I'm seeing this, it's like, oh, there's a male loneliness epidemic. No, there's not. There's an epidemic of men who want to continue to hurt women. There's an epidemic of men who want to continue in harmful cycles of behavior that create more trauma, perpetuate more of the same of what we've had, which is the foundation for all of the systems and structures and things that, you know, a lot of us are pushing back against, have been pushing back against for the last 5 years. Yeah. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? This underpins colonization. It underpins globalization. It underpins the imbalance of power, corporate structures, all of it. Okay. Underpinning all of it is patriarchal abuse, the imbalance of power, domination, control. Okay. And so on a micro level, this looks like control of feminine energies. We're about to come into a time where, and I can see this, I've had vision of this, right? I've been shown the next couple of years where this is going is the men who refuse to go through the healing, refuse the contracts, the spiritual contracts with the women sent to help them grow or evolve. These men who continue in these cycles, their lineages are cycling out because women are leaving at unprecedented rates. And these men are screaming about how, oh, the nuclear family's damaged and it's the system's fault and it's this and that and blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. It's not. It's your fault. At the very basic level, if we cannot be accountable for the way that we behave, for the way that we treat others, for the way that we show up in our relationships, in our homes, in our world, right? When we know that we're hurting people that we love, right? If we aren't willing to change that or do anything about that, it's like, that's on us, right? If somebody I love tells me that I'm hurting them, whether I'm meant to or not, whether it was intentional or not, and no matter what I'm going through, no matter what is challenging me in my world, I will move heaven and earth to make sure that I do not hurt that person again. That's love, right? That's love. And if that person walks away from me, I'm going to let them walk away because I love that person. So the men on this planet have a lot to learn about love. Actually, everybody on this planet has a lot to learn about love. And the reason that this is coming up in such a big way, coercive control, which really is narcissistic abuse. It's rooted in narcissism, right? Which, if we want to broaden that yarn, we'll go back to entity attachment on a spiritual level, right? So anyone who behaves in this way has allowed lower dark energies to infiltrate their spiritual field, which means that they're not in the driver's seat, they're not in control, right? Narcissistic abuse, coercive control is basically where a person is being used as a vehicle by lower dark energies to control, abuse others, manipulate others' energy and harvest that energy, because what they'll do is they'll try and trigger you so they can get you destabilized into emotion so they can then feed on that, right? Women are onto this now. And I can tell you right now that there are a whole lot of men, there is a massive proportion of the masculine collective that are now going to be landed in their own shit with nowhere to run, like I said before. The thing is, women are exhausted right now. My question to you, if you're a man watching this, when are you going to stand up and start defending women? When are you going to stand up and question how patriarchal belief structures and programming has influenced you unconsciously to show up in ways that harm, that seek to dominate or control, that harm women, that suppress women, that keep women shrinking, that take, or your kids, right? Especially if you have daughters. We have to really start looking at this now, right? Because the women healing from this are the women who have walked through the most horrific battles and mostly alone. I'm one of them, right? If I shared my story with you right now, it would take me a really long time. But the thing is, most people don't comprehend how insidious this is and how damaging it is, right? And because it's unseen and there are no bruises, there's no physical, it's not physical abuse, but it is emotional, mental, psychological, spiritual torture, right? It absolutely destroys women and it destroys children by proxy. And it's the mothers that are experiencing this that are trying to just get on with it, raise their kids, show up for their kids, that are suffering right now. But at the same time, those same women are coming together and being supported to make a stand with this, right? And it's women supporting women. Where are the men? Where are the men? Because the system is not going to fix this problem. It is men. It will be men, fathers, who fix this problem. So if you're a father, stand up. And if you see this happening, if somebody that you know and you thought was a great person, if this comes up, don't defend that person. Challenge them. Challenge them. Stand up and start protecting women, because we are trying to raise kids and we are trying to heal the planet. And you have absolutely no idea what these women have been through and continue to go through, and the strength that is required to show up in this world and keep going with the level of bullshit that is being thrown our way that is completely unwarranted. That is the end of my rant. I wanted to share that with you. I'm speaking to men, but I'm also speaking to women. Mostly, if you've walked this path, you are on this path for a reason. It is far greater than you. And your peace is your protection. Your peace and your regulated nervous system, you standing in your power, is the spiritual covering and the protection required for your children. That is all they need. All children need is a regulated, stable parent. Just one. That is their protective factor. And if a father deliberately tries to destabilize the mother of his child or put her into a dysregulated state, that is not a good father. Do not let him tell you otherwise. Anyone who believes that he is a good father and supports him, remove them from your world.